गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आज हम एक इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं। We're going to talk about India. We're going to talk of the rings of conflict which are around India and how those rings of conflict can affect us. And there's a clear and present danger for India. And that's what Commander Sandeep Dhawan has written about in Chanakya Forum. And I'll make him speak about what he visualizes. And for that, I have to first welcome Commander Sandeep Dhawan. Sandeep, welcome to Gunner Shot. This is the first time I'm having you here, and it's a great thing to have a young thinker to talk about it. And to tell everyone, he's a naval aviator, he's flown a lot of aircraft. After that, he's now been flying for almost 16 years. And just think, if tomorrow you could be in a flight where he's the captain, right? And he's flown A20s, Airbus A20, 320s, he's flown Boeings and everything. And
Uh,
he's seen the rings of conflict around India, right? So, and he writes fantastic. I saw this article of his, Rings of Conflict, Clear and Present Danger. And I thought I must get Sandeep over and make him speak and explain to all of you where India is standing. You know, we keep talking of India being a superpower or going to be a regional power and all that. But we have a lot of hurdles to cross. And I'd like to welcome Sandeep to give his views. It's a fresh view. And all that I can say is we look forward to his, eloquence. Over to you, Sandeep. Just take off.
Thank you so much, sir. Good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure and honor to be here with sir on the show. I've been watching his shows and reading his articles for many, many years. And here I am today in front of him. And so it is my privilege to be here. And because I have learned a lot from him. And even today also, I'm going to learn from him and all of you. So it occurred to me some time back, almost I would say uh, 10 to 12 years back, that something is churning around India. And so I wrote an article in 2020 which became super duper hit article. It was read by more than 5 lakh people, that is half a million people, and across 145 countries. That was, I had written, the Third World War is on and we are unaware. So that is the time I had introduced this ring of conflict concept. And in that, I had mentioned how phase wise enemy is going to encircle us. And that is what this article I have written in further detail and with in last 4 years, what has happened. So that is what is this article is all about. And even this article has crossed many milestones. Along with that, I had given one article about a year ago in which I had predicted the China's 2024 threat to India's elections. And post elections, again, I had given one article which is a curious case of deep states, Western deep states interference in Indian elections. And that article, these two articles are still going strong. They have crossed 3 lakh readership. And I still keep getting hits of almost 1,000 every day. So that's what I learned in so many years, and I have been following this. So should I start going
Yeah, yeah,
over one by one,
yeah,
sir?
yeah. What I
Yes, sir.
would request is give an overview of where we are. Because
That's
you've
right,
written
sir.
4, 5 articles, and there's a link within all your articles. You have a stream
Yes, sir.
running, says, look, India is progressing, India is doing everything. There are a lot of countries which want to become friends with India, but superficially they talk of friendship, but behind the back they do something else.
That's
And
right, sir. Absolutely right.
I completely go with what you say because uh, in my entire life, I've seen this is what India has to, you know, uh, been going through. Not only now, you go back, the Englishmen came, they said they were our friends, they wanted to trade us, and then they took over us, right?
Absolutely, sir.
Uh, uh,
So,
but still, even after our independence, this story has continued.
that's
So
right, sir.
this latest article of yours is actually timely, so that we have a check as to what it is. So I would like you to give your thought process rather than one article.
Absolutely.
Give your broad thought process and just let yourself go. It doesn't matter आप हिंदी में बात करो, इंग्लिश में बात करो, पंजाबी में बात करो, सिर्फ
Absolutely,
just
sir.
go. Let's
If
go. Yeah.
yes, sir. So, if some people want, I will speak in any of these languages.
No, no, it
So,
doesn't matter.
I have studied and divided these enemy actions into three phases. How they encircle a country, and it is not unique to India, but it is happening presently to India. It happens across the world, the powerful entities, the powerful countries, and the deep state, which sits in the background behind powerful governments and dictate the terms. So, one of the phases in this is the masquerading phase, where the powerful country or entity, which is trying to show something else to you, but they're in the background, as you said, they're doing something completely different. They'll be friendly with you, they will promise a lot to you. So that is phase number one. Phase number two is a utter chaos phase. In this phase, you will see the things start churning within the country. There would be demonstrations and there would be chaos. I will go over it once again in detail. And the phase three is the subjugation phase, where they completely take you and make you surrender to their wishes, their idea of thought, and their way of moving forward in the region. This is a country where you are trying to make a complete whole, because you feel that this is a country which is very powerful. Now, this cannot happen in isolation because there are countries around that. Now, if you want to control a main country in the center, then you have to control the countries around that. And in this case, since India would go through these three phases, the countries around India, namely Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. These are the countries, they would again go into different kind of phases, which are akin to the phases I've already explained, but they would be different kind of phases. I have named them charm phase, which is almost close to the masquerading phase, where they are charming those countries with various goodies. Like, they say that Greeks come with the goodies. So these are the modern Greeks. Then is the debt and dependence phase, and this is the phase is very interesting phase. Again, I will elaborate on this. Then comes the transition phase, and the final phase is the dominance phase. So these are the phases, the countries surrounding a target country phase, and it has happened with China, it has happened with USA, and it is happening with India. How it happens with India and in the present context, I would take you back to year 2000, sir, when Bill Clinton, that time president of USA, he had visited India, and that is the time the masquerading phase started. If you go through from 2000 onwards, the number of promises US has made to India, they're phenomenal. I had once again written an article how the deep state wants to, US American deep state wants to sabotage the India US relationship, because almost 20 kind of pacts or promises were made to India, and none of them came through, other than one, which is we call the civil nuclear pact, which happened, and the BECA, which happened, which is basically intelligence sharing pact. Other than that, everything has remained on paper. In fact, I am very upset that India, because if you see, China made wonderful use of this masquerading phase when USA was implementing this phase on China. So they made amazing progress during that time. They got technology from there. They used to send their scientists, students, business enterprises to USA, and they got phenomenally benefited. And the window was opened by Nixon, as or we all know, in 1972. They recognized China in 1979, and thereafter, 80s onwards, China has never looked back. But we never capitalized on this phase, and sadly, that phase is getting over. Now, when I say getting over, doesn't mean a phase gets over. We will always continue to see the masquerading phase. In parallel, a new phase starts, that is the utter chaos phase. And the utter chaos phase started almost about a decade ago. I can take you back to 2011, sir, when the Anna Hazare demonstration
Moment.
started in Delhi during Congress government, and the Delhi came to stand still, the Congress government came to stand still, and the whole India thereafter was glued to TV and watching what is happening next. That was the beginning of the utter chaos phase, and that continued even 2019 to 2021, when the Delhi riots to CAA demonstration to farmers demonstration, you saw that government was brought to the knees almost, and such a powerful government which came in 2014 could not stop it. So this, yes, sir.
Yeah,
You saying something?
yeah. I wanted to highlight what you said. You made a very important point. About this utter chaos phase. Now, what do you see when you look at the Anna Hazare movement and the farmers' protests and that bringing down of that flag and the Red Fort and all that? You put everything together. There was chaos instigated from outside. There's no two ways about it beyond a point. So what happens then? What you actually brought out is that it doesn't matter which party is in power. It's a larger issue.
Absolutely, sir.
And right, it's a larger issue, right? And the deep state aims at undermining India. That's the bigger word I want to use. And I mean, being very open about it. Okay. And what you said also, the deep state. Now, there's a deep state which is operating, and there is a government which is operating. The government and the deep state, from the origin, are operating in two different planes. That's the thing
That's right.
which you have
That's
actually
right. That's
put
right.
across.
That's absolutely
Right? So the deep state does something which the government doesn't say, which the government says something else, the deep state does something else. And the deep state, irrespective of which government is there in power in that country, and irrespective of which government is there in our country, gets on with it. Isn't it?
yes, sir.
That's the thing. Yeah, I think you put it out absolutely perfectly. Just go ahead.
Yes, sir. So now I'll again take you back to 2018. The act which started in 2018. Why I'm taking you to 2018 is because the present state, which is a circle, which is a ring made, the chaos ring or the crisis ring made around India, or the crisis zones being created around India, That whole programming started in 2018. And who are the players? There are three players in this involved. One is Pakistan and ISI, and this is a common player along with China and USA. And ISI and Pakistan, it is playing a double game. It is playing for both the parties. The highest bidder it will play for, and we all understand and know how USA has been funding the Pakistani army for years together, decades together. In fact, some people say that the Pakistan has survived economically just because of funding from USA. Now appears China, and China started funding, and especially when the generals of Pakistan army, they get funded personally, the scenario changes completely. If we go back to 2018, sir, and remember that Pakistan army chief visited Maldives. Now, why should the Pakistani army chief visit Maldives, sir? 2018. If at all, first of all, they don't share any kind of border. If at all Pakistan's any military personnel has to visit, then it could have been a naval chief, not the Pakistan army chief. But it has got a phenomenal importance. That is why he visited there. Then a lieutenant general, very senior lieutenant general from Pakistani army, same time was visiting Nepal. Now, Nepal, we all know, has been in China's orbit for a long, long time. In fact, it took a lot of coaxing from USA to just give her aid of some $550 odd million. They were refusing under pressure from China. So that is the kind of effect China has, or the power, or the whole China has in Nepal. So it makes perfect sense that a senior lieutenant general of Pakistan army was visiting. Once again, Nepal does not share any kind of border with Pakistan. Then the Pakistan army chief visited China in 2018 itself, and he had a personal audience with Xi Jinping, the president for life of China. So these are the very important occurrences, I would say. A lot of people must have noticed them, but a lot of people and many people miss these occurrences, because thereafter, if you see, because why it is happening here is 2019 were the elections in India. And similarly, before this, I would say, in 2015 also, one major occurrence happened, that the Shankar of Congress, he visited Pakistan soon after the elections in India. And he made a comment that Modi ko hatana hai. Now, he was a seasoned diplomat. Okay, my father-in-law was also a seasoned diplomat. They never utter any kind of loose comment in public, and especially on a foreign soil. So if he was uttering this, he was hinting at something, and that is what the whole game started thereafter. Now, if you notice, and I have mentioned this in my article, Curious Case of Deep States, Western Deep States Interference in India's Elections, that Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who is from Congress party, he visited 257 times between 2015 and 2019. In 3 years' time, he visited 257 times to foreign countries. That was 20 times more than all the G20 leaders put together their foreign visits. That is a kind of visit. And where did he go? First visit in 2015 he was in Myanmar for almost 20 days and 11 days in Cambodia. Now, both the countries are under phenomenal sway of Chinese intelligence as well as Chinese people. What was he doing that? I have no idea. Maybe he was a spiritual person and he was visiting monasteries, etc. But there is a big question mark on that. So putting these two things together, okay, along with his visits to West, they just continue till the last moment. In fact, 2023 December also, he was supposed to visit Southeast Asia, 3 countries, just 4 months before the general elections, and he was a role model for a party. So that raises a lot of questions, but I'm a political person, so I would not further elaborate on this. But there were many powers and foreign powers who were interested in shaking India, and they were interested in shaking the very strong central government. It is not, I'm not saying that they wanted to remove Mr. Modi or something. They were not at all doing that, or if at all though they were doing that, they were not successful. But idea was to keep a government which is dependent on the regional parties, and the regional parties can be controlled. If you notice, the third phase which has just started, which is the subjugation phase, and India is very nicely handling it. This is the phase when the diplomats of the entity which wants you to be controlled, they would go unleashed. And that is what happened. The American diplomat sitting in Hyderabad, she started meeting the local leaders like Mr. Owaisi, or she met Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister and Telangana Chief Minister. One would say, yes, they are allowed to meet them. Yes, why not? They are allowed to meet them. But I have not seen South African ambassador meeting any of these, or the South Korean ambassador meeting, or even the Japanese ambassador meeting all these opposition leaders, all the regional party leaders. So that again, in fact, if you go to Pakistan, the Pakistani ambassador, Pakistan, Mr. Bloom,
US
who has the American ambassador to Pakistan, he keeps visiting Pakistan-occupied Kashmir regularly. Yes, sir. And he sends pictures from there. So that is what is called coaxing the enemy or the target state. So that subjugation phase has started, but India is playing very well. India, I will come to that later. And in the subjugation phase, you will also see the targeting of business houses as well as the institutions. So you have seen how they have targeted Adani Group. Now, once again, I'm not giving a clean chit to Adani Group or something. They have targeted SEBI chief. Okay, so this is how they will put doubt in your mind about your courts, about the controllers. They will put doubt about the ED, etc. in your mind. And it is a game which is played at various levels. It is a game which is played inside and around the country.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's right, sir. So I'll continue, and I would say that if you have noticed how government identified these threats right in 2014. 20,700 NGOs have been shut down, sir, till to date, from 2014 onwards. Okay, 174 Chinese companies are working in India. 40 of their premises were raided, and 6,500 crore unaccounted funds were unearthed.
Yeah, that is Vivo and the others. Yeah,
absolutely, sir. All these mobile companies. As per the government agencies, 10 lakh crore Hawala money comes to India every year. Now, how much is business entities are sending across, how much terrorists are sending across, and how much these foreign entities, which could be USA or China or anyone sending across. It is a very big question because these entities, these powerful NGOs, they get this money and they further distribute it. We have porous border with Nepal. We have porous border with Bangladesh. We have porous border with Pakistan also in certain way. And money, especially from Nepal, Hawala from Nepal, Hawala from Dubai, is a very, very common phenomenon. From Dubai, it comes to Kerala. From Nepal, it comes to UP and Bihar. In fact, a small quantity of cash keeps flowing into India from the porous border of Nepal. India shares almost 1,700 kilometers border with Nepal. Bangladesh was the last citadel which had not fallen. The longest serving female leader of any country in the world was Sheikh Hasina. She could have been dictator. She was doing whatever in her country, but India as such was getting phenomenal security assurances from her. And that is the reason India, in fact, had gone in 2011 and again repeated it in 2016, the extradition treaty also with them, under which now Bangladesh is asking to hand over Mrs. Sheikh Hasina back to Bangladesh, which is ridiculous, which will not happen. But because of that, we got a lot of terrorists staying in Bangladesh handed over to us. So that was the last citadel, because the fake money currency was not flowing through. Hawala currency was not flowing through Bangladesh. It was maybe flowing, but in a very small quantity, because we share more than 4,000 kilometers of border with 5 states with Bangladesh, which is huge. And with the Bangladesh making a near Cox's Bazar, making a missile boats and submarine base with the help of China. Again, it's a very, very serious concern for us. And in all probability,
he'll just come back.
It's going to come back after the elections happen.
Yeah.
Okay, and the BDS is hand in glove with the ISI. They are hand in glove with China. And so India will have a phenomenal task on hand. I'm sure we will handle it very nicely. But we have challenges, and they are going to come from Bangladesh. The Myanmar border, we already know what is happening in Manipur. We already know what is happening in Maldives, though Mr. Jaishankar, Dr. Jaishankar was there recently, and we're trying to recover things. But Sri Lanka was another citadel which had fallen some time back. And Nepal, we all know that in 2001, when they conspired against the king and killed him, they called it his son murdered, but that is not the case. Okay, I know the inside story, but I shall not dwell upon that in this. But that is a state. So India, with Bangladesh falling, sir, the ring of crisis zones around India is complete. So this, the phases I have described, the transition phase has ended around India, and we are entering the dominance phase, in which phase the Pakistan, the Nepal, up to certain extent, we have saved Bhutan. Okay, otherwise the phenomenal efforts were done Doklam onwards by China to take Bhutan also in their orbit. Myanmar, we know, and Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka, and Maldives. So this circle has completed with fall of Sheikh Hasina's government in Bangladesh.
Yeah, I think you summed up the situation pretty well, and I go with it to almost the full extent without any reservations. I'm very clear about it. So what we see today is there are two powers which are vying for India, right? Both China
That's right,
and
sir.
US. Both are vying for India. Uh, let's put it this way, and we all know that both are vying for India because whichever way India swings towards is that weight will go there, and geopolitical issues. The power that power where we swing towards will benefit. So there is an attraction phase in this, and there's an undercutting phase in this in both cases.
Absolutely, sir.
So which do you think is more powerful of the two? Let's
As of
discuss
now,
China first.
yes, sir.
Let's look
So
at China.
I tell
No.
you,
Let
sir.
me put it this
Okay.
way: in this competition, neither is our friend at all. Okay,
None of them.
uh,
None of them are our
none of them are
friends.
our friend,
That phase is already
and
over, sir.
that they are looking at their interests, and we should look at our interests. And I'm
Absolutely,
not
sir.
interested. Yeah, so discuss China. Your views
Let's
about
yes, sir. We'll go one by one.
yeah,
China. So now, China, the charm phase and debt and dependence phase started long back. Okay, especially if you see the Pakistan. Excuse me. Pakistan has phenomenal. Their debt jumped from 7.6 billion in 2016 to 26.5 billion in 2024. That's a huge jump. Then Sri Lanka, which is again 4.6 to 8.8 billion. Myanmar 0.97 to 6, Bangladesh from 0.97 to 6 billion. Maldives 0.3 to 1.2 billion. And these are huge figures for these small
small
countries. Nepal
countries.
was, yes, sir, very small countries because their annual budgets are very small, their GDPs are very small. And today's state is that Pakistan, okay, if they have to serve these, just the interest part of this, they have to shell out 57% of their government earnings to serve these interests. Sri Lanka has to churn out 54% of their government's earnings. Bangladesh 31.5%. And Pakistan's external debt, 72% is owned by China. Whereas Maldives is 68%, Sri Lanka 57%, and Nepal 27%. These are phenomenal figures for a
Small
small
figures.
country. So
Yeah,
huge figures,
a small
and
country
just
with no
one entity.
resources.
Main point what I'm trying to make here is just one entity, and that is China, that is holding. Now, in this, why this is more successful than USA's approach, because USA was giving more of aid. USA was giving loans, but only through IMF and World Bank, and that too with lot of conditions. China gives loans at commercial rates. Okay, most of us must be owning house, so China gives commercial interest and floating rate. That means if the rates go up in the world market, the Chinese interest rates will also go up. Chinese the companies, when the China gives loan, the condition is simple that only Chinese companies will carry out the work. They will finish the work and they'll hand over the project to you. Case in focus is you can see Hambantota, you can see Gwadar, you can see the airport in Nepal, which just recently they made. These are all white elephant they produced. What has happened is loan has been given by Chinese banks, work has been done by Chinese companies. So money has already gone back to China, sir. And these guys are left with these white elephants. If you know, the Hambantota port now gone to China for 99 years lease. Part of Gwadar port is on 40 years lease with the Chinese company. The Nepal airport, okay, Indian government is
Pokhara.
putting a lot of pressure. Yeah, the Pokhara airport.
Pokhara.
Indian government is putting a lot of pressure to avoid that falling into China's hand. Just imagine the kind of security, the threat that would be for India if that airport goes. That is the reason India has taken over the Hambantota airport. Again, that was made by China. They have made huge complexes there, but the Adani group has taken over that airport so that at least some kind of threat has been reduced. The air element from the Hambantota airport has been reduced. So these are the phenomenal threats we are seeing from China, and China also controls a lot of senior politicians, their secrets. Because this Chinese surveillance in these areas are phenomenal. If you know that most of the phones, most of the almost 75% of the world phones are produced by China. 49% of the laptops, iPads, and things like that, all produced by China. And almost 90% of the surveillance cameras are produced by China, sir. And these are the surveillance equipment for China. As we talk to each other, we and you and me, not sure if you have, like I don't use Chinese phone or any other Chinese item, but if you have by mistake even a Chinese app, okay, before 2020, India had 50% of Chinese apps. Today it is reduced to 29% because of government steps. But that is also a huge number. And these are the free apps. Every youth downloads. They give you free service, but you just don't know how they are surveilling you using these apps. Each and every movement of yours, finger movement, facial expression is recorded and taken out by these apps to further explore or exploit. So just imagine how they can control the senior officials of a country, generals of Pakistani army or Nepali army, or the leaders of Nepali army, Nepal and Pakistan, or Bangladesh, because they would be all using their equipment. In fact, recently there was a hue and cry in USA because even the cranes fitted on the ports in USA, the surveillance camera, yes sir, all Chinese, and surveillance cameras fitted on them were recording the flow of the cargo and where it is going and how it is going. That kind of surveillance was being done. So just imagine the nerve of all these politicians, all the countries around India, and maybe many of them is in the hand of China. So it is a clear and present danger. 13 to 16 years of Indian children, they are on social media. 31% is their social media login effort. So that is, all those activities are being noted by China.
I completely agree with you.
Sir, you must have noted then there's a huge rise within last couple of years, I would say a decade, about very low cost companies who do your blood test, who do all kind of tests at 1/4 the cost of the hospitals do. They come to your home, they collect your data, they within 24 hours you get phenomenal results, and all come at the cost of 200 rupees, 300 rupees. You go to hospital, you have to pay, shell out 1200, 1500 rupees. So you always go for these companies. Has anybody ever checked the background of owners of these companies? The China is collecting our medical history. 90% of USA's citizens' medical history is already owned by China. Today, the data is new oil, and the AI, which we all keep talking about, is useless without data, and that is the reason China is collecting data, and they're giving you cheap phones, they're giving you cheap products, they're giving you everything.
Yeah, I'm completely in agreement with what you're saying, but I'd like to put across a few issues and I'd like your views on that. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
despite whatever China has done, and I've also been speaking on China and done a lot of research in China. If you see around countries, you look at Pakistan. When you look at Pakistan, what you see is that China is facing tremendous problems in Gwadar, which is their main base. And the CPEC is down completely and all that. Let's focus on Pakistan for a minute. So whatever they were planning with Gwadar has not gone ahead. Whatever they were hoping to do in Pakistan is on the back foot. The CPEC is virtually in a standstill mode, right?
Absolutely.
All the thermal plants which China built in Pakistan are now almost shut for the simple reason the independent power producers have not been given money, right?
Absolutely.
And no one can pay them. Okay, so China and Pakistan can't pay. I'll take it a step further. Pakistan will never pay anyone. वो तो किसी को उसको खुद को पैसे देने के लिए नहीं तो वो दूसरे को क्या देगा वो. So actually, if you see, despite whatever China has done, it is stuck. It is stuck badly in Pakistan. Right. Virtually the same thing has happened almost everywhere in various shades. Right. If you look at it. So when you look at all this, one is this ring of fire, while it is there and you cannot this thing, are there
Then I guess.
opportunities for us to exploit and break them? What are the opportunities available with us? How to break them? That's my question to you.
So, if you notice, sir, we have never disowned Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Despite the change of government by force, by power, whatever you call it, we have not cut our relationship despite tremendous pressure from USA and the Western forces with Iran. In fact, our leaders keep visiting Iran. We have a phenomenal rapport with them. And if you notice, despite I would just go slightly off the track and tell you that since the Middle East crisis, especially the Israel crisis started, there were a lot of attacks on our shipping. And those were not our ships. They were mostly
Different ships.
either going or coming to and fro from Israel. But if you notice, most of the time, 90% of the time rather, the crew was Indian. And it is a known fact. Okay, India runs about 10% of seafarers in the world. It's a huge number. Okay, we have the third largest seafarers in the world, but number one is China. Number two is the Philippines. We are not number one. But did you hear any ship coming under attack which had Chinese crew, all Chinese crew? No. But now, if you notice, for last 4 months, that has stopped.
Yeah.
So India has, despite China's huge sway over Iran, despite China trying to make inroads into Afghanistan, we have a lot of leverage in these two countries. We again started positioning our engineers and workers in Afghanistan, and the projects which had stopped and we have started at least the maintenance part of it. China is trying to move in, but so these are the external factors. Internally, also, we have a lot of support in Balochistan. We have a lot of support in Sindh. And now the support is also developing in the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. So these, yes, sir. So we have to, and we have been exploiting these situations, trying to mold them in our favor. It will take some time because now, if you notice, militarily, China has played again very smart. It has gone unnoticed, maybe, but because Pakistan's military spending is about maybe 6 billion or so, but less than 6 billion actually. And the kind of orders they have placed with Pakistan, with China, are phenomenal. They have bought J-10C fighters from China. They have bought Type 54 AP warships from China. They have bought 39B submarines from China. So do you think that they have capacity to pay when they don't have the capacity to feed their own populace? So that brings a very big question mark. In all probability, and it is my theory, that these have not been bought by Pakistan. Rather, China has positioned these platforms in Pakistan, because if they say that we are positioning, then there'll be huge hue and cry, but Pakistan can always buy. That is a different thing. They have created their repair and facilities. They have created their overhauling facilities. And remember that these three platforms I've said are the most utilized and largest number in Chinese military also, these three platforms. So that means they have created. So though their Gwadar, I would say the CPEC part and the Gwadar part is not very successful. And in any ways, that is a useless thing when it comes to war, because there will be just one missile away in POK, and everything will come to standstill. But for the peacetime, or just to trouble India, just to instigate India, these steps have been taken. And they are phenomenal, especially when China can take over, because again, my theory is that China is actually not interested in taking back the loans they have granted. Their interest is to take over the government land, take over government facilities like ports, like radio stations, highways, airports, whatever they can take over, so that in when the balloon goes up, they can utilize these facilities for their own self. But India, as we discussed, sir, we have a
lot of countermeasures. I mean, you outlined the threat well, but we have tremendous countermeasures. We'll talk about them. How do we handle Bangladesh? That's a question which today is current, and which is something which occupies everyone's mind.
That's right, sir. So Bangladesh, if we can handle Jamaat. So if you know Jamaat-e-Islami and Islamic Chhatra Shibir, these are two entities which were actually instrumental in overpowering the Bangladesh government. They play in the hand of ISI. We have to target these organizations, because these organizations have been kingmakers for many years. Ever since 1975, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was assassinated. And these guys were declared soon after independence. These guys were declared, the leaders of Jamaat were declared anti-Bangladesh, and they ran away to Pakistan. So they have all been trained and indoctored by ISI, especially now this is the Chhatra Shibir, because they have recently gone there and taken a lot of training from ISI for the civil unrest, for the civil war, whatever you want to call it. And they have come back and they have done exactly that. Funds were pumped in. So we have to target these two entities. If we target these two entities in certain ways, stop their funding, and I will not elaborate further how we have
Yeah, that's
to
okay.
target.
That's okay. That's fine. Yeah.
If we just sort out these two organizations in Bangladesh, Bangladesh Nationalist Party uh, will come, but it will remain weak, and we can handle them. But if Jamaat is behind, and if the Chhatra Shibir is behind them, then it will become a problem, because they have been kingmakers for many years for many parties.
Right. I think you outlined a lot of things today. You outlined the dangers which confront India, the threats which confront India, and these are the realities of day-to-day life which we have to contend with. Uh, Before I take questions from everyone, and I'd like to tell everyone, today I read a very interesting, yesterday or today, I read a very interesting article. In China, there's a cartoon which has come up, and this cartoon is raging in Weibo. And what does this cartoon say? This cartoon has been planted in social media officially by the Communist Party of China. So what does this cartoon convey? It conveys to the village clans. There are a lot of clans. China, if you disaggregate
Yes,
China,
sir. Yes, sir.
full of clans. It is warning the clans in the villages not to go against the party.
Yes, sir.
You
I
know,
saw that.
whe-
Yes.
okay, it's now I've never seen it in my life, this kind of a thing. Given China's internal problems, this is something completely out of context. So this needs a
That's
lot
right.
of thing, that actually puts China in a hole. The moot point today, and this is something which I'm going to discuss in my next podcast. Either I'll do it myself or with CIR tomorrow or day after. Is that can China sustain its internal problems and also support its external ambitions? External ambitions, Sandeep has given out beautifully. There's no doubt about it. And I'm glad and I thank Sandeep for outlining with figures the enormity of the problem which India faces. But there's a flip to it, and the flip is, can China sustain this? But that we'll discuss a separate way, right? I thank Sandeep quite a lot. So can we take a few questions? I think you need to answer some. I mean,
Yes,
a
sir.
lot of people are saying, right? Okay, this is a very interesting question. He says all our neighbors are eager to be colonies of USA, like China, but not Bharat.
Yes, it's a very pertinent question, and why people are, let's say, going away from India. So you have to understand, that shows power of India, the location we are in, the geography of India is the envy of every nation in the world today. Okay, if you have read Kaplan's book Monsoon, which talks about South Asia and the importance of South Asia. And we, as India or Bharat, we sit at the helm of that location. We are the proprietor of, if I may say, Indian Ocean. Okay, today Indian Ocean has 80% of world's energy needs being met through Indian Ocean. 40% of cargoes go through world's cargo goes through Indian Ocean. 900 billion worth cargo of China passes through Indian Ocean. So that is the phenomenon. So everybody, when I mean to say, China wants to control India, and West, especially West, means USA, UK, and their friends. They want to control India. The deep state wants to control India, and the South Asia, because we have 25% world's population living here. If you stay poor, if you stay dependent on external entities, you will always be dependent, and you will always buying stuff from them rather than supplying stuff to them. So that is the reason. And India today is dependent. There is no doubt. That is the reason we cannot go very hard against any of the entities. Rather, we have to take a middle path, I had written in my article, because more than $100 billion our trade is with USA, 120 billion uh, 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 euros
Dollars.
our trade is with the European Union. So that's a huge amount. If you try to take these entities with power or with outright boldness, that will not work. In fact, I had written in my article that Khwarazmiyan empire, which consisted of present-day Central Asia, Afghanistan, and Iran. So that's a huge empire it was. It was in 1500 that the Genghis Khan brought down this empire just because of their poor diplomacy. Okay, they when the Genghis Khan sent his emissaries to this empire, they killed them. He sent again, they again killed them. So that is the time he decided, okay, they don't want to talk, so let's do what they want to do. And that is how he decimated such a huge empire. I call it Khwarazmiyan trap. Okay, like we talk about a lot of traps. So this is another trap. So we have to deal these situations diplomatically. We have dealt very nicely in Sri Lanka. We have given them $4.1 billion soft loans and credit line. We are dealing with the Maldives today in a very nice fashion. We have not made any ho-halla or great noise about, though on social media I must have seen, but otherwise we have handled very nicely. Pakistan is the only lost cause, and that will take long time. That's a long-term problem for us. But Nepal, we keep swinging from left to right, and Bhutan is with us. Myanmar, despite a lot of setbacks, we are in not a very bad position. So, despite this ring of, so.
Yeah. A
Yes, sir.
connected
So
question with
despite
what
this
you're saying.
ring of conflict zones around us, we are doing a lot of efforts. And now, if you know, presently today, our Prime Minister is sitting in Poland. He'll be there for 2 days. Then go to Ukraine. If you notice, our business or any kind of turnover with them is minuscule, just 6 billion with Poland, and few hundred million with Ukraine. So, business wise, they're not really important entities for us, but we're sitting there just because of diplomacy, because our Prime Minister had gone to Russia, and now he has gone just to balance the things out.
Yeah, first class. We'll take this question. It says on rhetoric and reality, we can claim to be leader of Global South in 2024. We used to do so in Panchsheel and non-aligned movement too. Question, but Maldives, Bangladesh difficulties are a reality, your views. He's questioning our rise as a power.
Yeah. So that is what is the challenge for us, because China thinks that it will become second pole and the world will become the bipolar world. India's thinking is that it will be a multipolar world, and India would be one of the poles. So that is where challenge is coming. We are, handling these challenges. If you notice, uh, it is a habit of China to reverse the position from host to guest to guest to host. Okay, you understand this concept? There's a principle called reversing the role from host to guest. That means that if you gone to somebody's house, and you must have seen that happens so many times that all of a sudden a guest starts taking more interest than the host himself in other people's needs, or he starts claiming himself to be almost a host. That is what China did with the global south. They proclaimed themselves the global leader of the global south. uh, if you remember, as you very correctly pointed out, India should not have done this right after independence, and we did that. The Pandit Nehru did this soon after independence. That we will lead the global south, and we would be huge leader of that. Blah blah blah. We should have concentrated more on nation building that time, and our time would have come, as the Chinese say, bide your time. And that we should have done rather than becoming the leader, because that created more trouble for us than actually benefited the country.
Thanks. We'll take a couple of more questions. Silverback, thanks for becoming a YouTube member. Maulana Awasuddin Al Bakri Bas, thanks a lot. You're saying namaste, so I must thank you. Yeah, then we've taken a question. We'll talk. Let me see if we have an interesting question. Yeah. Can we do this? What's stopping government to issue summons to US Embassy and consulates in India? And telling them
Oh
not to.
no, no, they are in. That's what I told you. We have to use diplomacy. That is our tool in
Yes.
our hand. We are doing it phenomenally. So it will be a diplomatic suicide if we start doing this. For what reason? That they are meeting our opposition leaders or regional leaders in their own right. They have diplomatically they can do exercise their rights in that way. So we cannot challenge them on that.
Yeah. This is more of a comment. I'll just read it out. Good evening, General Shankar and Commander Sandeep Dhawan. As India
Hello, good
progresses and
evening.
emerges as a world power, it's not surprising to see covert and overt forces to try and destabilize us, right? We just need to strengthen our covert and overt agencies to tackle this problem. Edward Snowden revealed that USA spy on everyone, including their allies and citizens. I think you're right. A couple of words on
Absolutely.
this, and then we'll move ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So
Right.
we have already discussed that it is not that outright we are, it is not those innocent times when we could blindly believe in people or the countries.
Yeah.
There is nothing called personal rapport. It is the interests of the countries which drive the nations in taking decision. And USA, in its own right, was dropping on its own allies, and even those countries would have been doing that. So that is what is happening in India, and India is also doing in other countries as well. So
Yeah.
how
Correct.
much we can
Right.
control it, how much we don't give, that's the our control.
Yeah. That's the question at hand, I'll say. So, are we seeing India, Malaysia, and Japan trilateral against China?
No,
There
I
used,
don't think so, sir.
I don't think so.
Malaysia, no.
See,
Japan,
yeah,
yes.
Malaysia is, look, Japan and India are okay against China, but Malaysia is a weak partner if you're looking at it. Malaysia is not the ideal partner. Why Malaysia,
Malaysia.
the Prime Minister is coming here is to just have a hedge against China, because the pressure on Malaysia from China is too much. So look, every small country wants to hedge with India against China. So
Absolutely,
that's where
absolutely.
it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm, yeah, same question with NRK also. I'm seeing a lot of buzz around India, Malaysia, China against Japan. Yeah, I don't think it'll
Yeah.
okay. Uh, JBJP says great regional scanning tonight. This should be done more often in our country's discussion. Sure, I will. There's no doubt. Ultimately, yeah, you have a fan from China, Chung from China. He says, Captain Sandeep, good to see you here. I don't know. You must be knowing him better. He's he, he's
Okay.
come
Hello.
elsewhere in your this thing.
No idea, sir. Thousands of people keep coming. So
Yeah.
yeah, but hello, hi, how are you?
Okay. This is a question. I think why India was unable to capitalize the phase one with America was because they learned how to not make same mistakes as they did with China. Well, that's a point of view you have said. I'll go with it. Will not you know. Okay. Um. Yeah. Let me see if there's another question. Yeah. Okay, fine. I think we have, virtually most of the questions, issues which you have raised are done. In fact, today I must say that Commander Sandeep Dhawan has given us a broad view about what's happening in our neighborhood and how China is making inroads, how USA is also making inroads. The final thing which I would like him to comment 1 minute is how do we ward off both? I mean, at one level, at one level, USA is our friend. At another level, it keeps undercutting, and this is historic. They've always done it. If you look at the US ambassador's statements in India, indicate that very clearly. On the other hand, you have China, which is going to be your lifelong adversary for a long time to come, right? In this, how do we handle this? Where do you go? How do you swing, and how do you keep your own balance? 2 minutes
So
on that, and then we'll say Jai Hind.
yes, sir. So I personally feel, and logically also, we have to take a middle path, which is leaning towards the West and USA, because we can still benefit a lot. A huge Indian diaspora is there in USA and the West. In West USA and the West, they still have lot of strings they can pull, and as I already discussed, that our business interests are there in USA. Whereas China, we are, our business with China, it's more of import than export to China. So it's almost like a one-way traffic. Same goes for Russia also. So we have to continue making efforts to avoid war with China. That should not, we should not reach that stage, and we have to have better relationship, or rather keep making efforts with the key countries like France, Australia, Japan, South Korea. We have to keep a window open with the Paria states like Russia and Iran, because despite the fact the West is putting a lot of pressure on us, they also note that if you want to read the mind of Iran or Russia, India is a better bet than China, and we can provide them a lot of know-how and inner information for these countries. And rather, if you notice that one of the statements of our Prime Minister was that I can bring peace between Ukraine and Russia, and that is what
Yeah,
he's going to convey in Ukraine. So that is what our stand should be. The diplomatic effort of what we have seen in last at least 3 to 4 years has been phenomenal. That onslaught has to continue so that we break the kind of impression or the kind of propaganda which has been spread. And behind that, China is also there. Behind that, the deep state is also there, where biggest of the publication houses have been spreading propaganda against India, as if there is a genocide going on in India of minorities, or the institutions have fallen down, and there's anarchy in India. So that
Yeah,
we have to bring it down, and that is how we will be able to stay stronger. That's what I feel.
yeah, I agree with you completely. The Joydeep Mitra says, "Sir, can you have a show on how or countermeasures as well?" Look, Commander Sandeep Dhawan has already mentioned a lot of countermeasures. And over and above this, my entire, theme in Ghana short is how to counter this. You can counter USA and China by rising yourself and doing the right thing. As simple as that. Many complicated questions have simple answers, right? You just continue with it. But having said that, we'll do something about it. In the end, I'd like to thank Commander Sandeep Dhawan for the way he's explained everything. There are a lot of questions which are left unanswered. But what we'll do is we'll get back to him after some time, say 10, 15 days, especially after the Ukraine visit is over of the Prime Minister, so that you'll get you will get a new idea of where India is heading. And let me tell you, India is heading in a new direction. Because as much as what Sandeep has spoken about how China is doing, China itself is in a problem. And as much as what USA is doing, USA itself is in a problem, right? And this is the opportunity, and in fact, the meaning of our Prime Minister going to Ukraine is very deep. So we'll talk about this, Sandeep, when we'll talk about this entire story sometime 10, 15 days later. Till then, I must thank you for the way you put things across.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
evening and Jai Hind to everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Jai Hind. And it was a pleasure interacting with you, sir. Bye bye.
Thank you.